We picked the Asian feature for our project.
In the Pacific, Japan kept trying to expand its country by invading Manchuria and attacking China. Then, on September 27, 1940, Japan became allied with Germany and Italy. In order to stop the Japan forces from invading Manchuria and China, the U.S. stopped providing Japan with resources like oil and rubber. Japan's response was the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. This caused the United States to declare war on Japan, Germany to declare war on the U.S., and the U.S. to declare war on Germany. For a while, the Japanese had a lot of success in gaining territory, until the American naval fleet won the Battle of the Midway in June 1942. After two heavy losses for the U.S., Iwo Jima and Okinawa, the U.S. also conquered Okinawa in June 1945. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. Air Force dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima and 3 days later dropped a bomb on Nagasaki. After the 120,000 Japanese deaths, Japan agreed to surrender on August 14, 1945, and formally surrendered to the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union on September 2nd of the same year.
Japan had many goals in this attack. One of the goals of Japan was to destroy the U.S.'s Navy because they wanted resources from countries that were allies with the U.S., such as rubber and oil. Another thing that Japan wanted to do was to crush the will of American people. Although a large goal of Japan was to weaken America, this attack helped America unite and get stronger as a nation. The U.S.'s role was to fight back and defend themselves and to also take defense with Japan.
The plane we chose to research was the P-40 E Warhawk.
The P-40E was first activated in Mitchell Field, New York. It was then moved to Hillsgrove, Rhode Island, but in 1943 it was officially moved to Langley Field, Virginia. They then began to train for overseas combat. They flew to Terre Haute, Arguela, for their first overseas station. The 325th Fighter Group was achieved one of the AAF's most important combat records in the history of World War II. In October 1945, the group was inactivated, but then reactivated again for the war in Korea. They flew over 550 missions with over 500 aerial successes.
The engine is an Allison V1710-39 liquid-cooled V12 engine. It has 1150 horsepower on takeoff and 1350 horsepower at maximum. It is 6,350 pounds, and the dimensions are the wingspan is 37.33 feet, the length is 31.67 feet, it is 12.33 feet high, and the propeller diameter is 11 feet 6 inches. The P-40 Warhawk could be very effective with the right training in battle. It could hold up to 200 to 235 rounds per gun. The Warhawks contained a liquid-cooled inline piston engine. George Welch and Kenneth Taylor flew in it and successfully shot down many Japanese planes.
On December 7, 1941, Japan led a surprise attack against the U.S. at Pearl Harbor. The man who planned the attack was Japan's Commander-in-Chief, Yamamoto Isoroku. Pearl Harbor was an island that was located near Honolulu, Hawaii. Japan attacked because the U.S. put an embargo on all of the items coming in from Japan. This was seen as a sign of war. Japan attacked mainly because they wanted resources from countries that were allies with the U.S. Japan's idea was that if they attacked Pearl Harbor, that this would destroy the U.S.'s Navy. The attack began around 8 in the morning. During this, many bombs and bullets fell down from Japan's planes. This attack only lasted approximately 2 hours, but in this time it made the tensions between the U.S. and Japan much worse. In the end of the attack, over 2,000 Americans were killed. Along with all of the Americans that perished, over 20 of America's ships were destroyed. This battle is also what ultimately led to the U.S. going into World War II.
The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor was about oil. Then a U.S. oil embargo triggered the war and the attack. The attack was meant to destroy not only the U.S. Navy, but the country and set us back. When Japan kept going and taking over Chinese land, the U.S., Britain, and France all sent aid to China by sending military supplies and a U.S. volunteer fighter group. Japan signed the Tripartite Pact with Germany and Italy. President Roosevelt and Britain created an oil embargo that froze all of Japan's assets in the U.S. and Britain. The goal was to get the Japanese to withdraw from the pact with Germany and Italy. Japan lost all of its overseas profits and 90% of its oil imports. Japan felt that they had one option: knock the U.S. out in the Pacific with one massive and secure the oil.
The U.S. entered the war due to the battle, and the Japanese American citizens were transported to relocation camps. 110,000 Japanese Americans were confined during World War II. Because of their race, in 1944, a court case was held in the Supreme Court between Korematsu, a man being forced to leave his residence to go to a relocation camp, and the United States. His idea was that it was unconstitutional to take away his rights. The case result was that he could be relocated because the importance of safety was declared more important than his right. To this day, the case hasn't been overturned, but the survivors of the camp were issued $20,000 in compensation.